What I did was I faxed him my notes and my points of concern for the pool, and he said that he would give me a call next week and set up an initial meeting, at least so that we can get our foot in the door and maybe set up.
We have to deal with two different legal counsels, and they have new legal counsels.
So I'm trying. It's very difficult dealing with a couple of these entities that are so big and so overwhelmed as it is, be it the county or Twin Rivers, that we're just a speck on their horizon. So, but they are aware. I'll keep hammering at them until we at least get something in the pipeline. The snack shack, I don't know. I mean, those are rules and regs that I don't know what to do. And the last thing is I've started, Terry and I have started work on the preliminary budget, only so that we can target. This will be the baby for the new administrator. But what I wanted to set in place are those budgeted items that are in distress right now: legal, advertising, some of the maintenance accounts. They are going to have to be topped up. We got hit really hard by Center High School with that huge fuel bill they gave us from January through June of last year, and can get it until this new fiscal year. So we're already in the red there. We can modify the budget, but we'll have to increase it. My concern is there's not going to be a heck of a big carryover this year. Taxes are looking good. We've had a strong return, but I don't know whether that's going to be compensate for the loss in legal. As I mentioned, we're at 147%. That's unavoidable, and we may need to tap into that again. So just wanted to let you know where that's going. Thank you.
Questions for Chuck? Okay.
Chuck, I got a couple questions. On your report, item D, the update on the Cape Art Snack Shack, is the 47,000 figure, is that still accurate, or are we looking at significant
The 47 is
just for the shed itself, right?
Just for the shed itself. That's the high one. That's with the piers. We still don't. We'll have to add the ADA access ramp and whatever else.
Your last sentence here, additional costs will include finishing the interior of the building, the plumbing, electrical. Are all that also covered by the Capri insurance and part of the $2,000 deductible? You won't have an additional deductible?
No, we'll have the, probably we'll pay the deductible with the demolition costs, and then everything else will be reimbursed for.
Got a question on item G, the elimination of infrastructure charges by SMUD. How much were those fees, and how often were we charged?
We were charged.
Infrastructure fees.
I really haven't researched it. To tell you the truth, Greg, I don't know what they're talking about, but they're reducing our fee by even a little bit. It's great. I think it's similar to what we pay. It's for the infrastructure, like what we pay for Sac Suburban Water. We pay, even now, water is off in all the parks, but we're paying substantial infrastructure, ranging anywhere from $600 to $200, depending on Parkside, for the infrastructure. And I think the best I can make out from what the letter I got from SMUD is that they are, because we're such a small entity, that we fall below commercial, and that's what they're giving us. That's where we're.
So you don't see this as substantial savings, but it'll be somewhat.
Yeah, somewhat.
And then the reimbursement from Capri, the liability from 2001, fiscal year 2001. Why did it take so long for us to get reimbursed for that?
I think that again, Greg, is a guess, but I think why it's so delayed is because they have to wait to see all of the claims. Say we have a claim now or suit now, it may take 2 to 3 years before it's settled, and there it's reflected on their books. So, I mean, in actuality, I hate to be a downer on this, but we're going to hit some bumps in the road for, what is it, Terry, 10, 11, and 12. We've had some maintenance issues, or cars damaged, people on workers' comp, things like that.
And then the last thing I want to say, your revenue report, just looks absolutely stellar. I think it really leads to the staff's planning when they're doing the budgeting and the staff's adherence to the budget as the year progresses. All those numbers just look fantastic. And it looks like the 4 that you're concerned with are pretty much just standard operating things that come up. I mean, not anything that we could have planned for or anything that we could have budgeted for. It's just standard operating procedures that have crept up on us this year.
You're right. I mean, I think recreation and administration have done a fantastic job. Terry's like a tiger out there with dragging people in off the street to rent the rooms. Scott's division has been doing very well with gym rentals, and we haven't even hit the picnic rentals yet. I think that's going to be a big. In summer, Raccoon Club is off the charts, so we've done really well. Those costs that we've had are mainly because we cut the budget as in maintenance. Maintenance is the biggest cost, and we cut so much to the bone that any unexpected thing, like the $1,400 in electrical replacement for K Park, we have to do that. Tree comes down, things like that. It really impacts us. And we're also facing a lot of deferred maintenance that we've had for the last 5 years that are coming back to haunt us now.
Well, I just want to congratulate staff and the budget committee as well, and everybody on their due diligence.
Thank you.
It looks outstanding at this point.
I only have one. I remember Alan had one concern. I think he misread the child care stove. So it's actually the conductor, not a whole entire stove.
No, but the conductor's pretty expensive.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Right. He was thinking that we replaced the whole entire stove and was that budgeted for, and I don't think he read that before he went out of town or that absorbed that portion of it.
No, it was a heating element of the stove that went out, and they're required by, I believe, state law to serve so many hot meals a day, and it seriously impacted on their, it couldn't be closed down, so I had to.
Yeah, so it's a part inside stove.
Yeah, it's not a new
like,
stove.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there anything? Chuck, I just thought about the Antelope Little League and the situation they have for opening days. I think you better get to them as quick as possible and let them know what's going on.
I think I'm going to set up a meeting, and probably with the insurance company again, so that we're all on the same table. But I know they're going to be upset.
Well, it's a big, it is a big money maker for them. Kids can play ball without a sack bar, but that's their money and their income. So just as quick as you can, and let us know what's going on.
Yeah, I'll contact
the
them next
responses.
week.
Okay. Scott. Hi.
Just 2 quick things. I know we have other more important things on the agenda. Item 4, my report, the activity guide, that slight change in the approach. I didn't know if the board had any questions about that. We found out well after the fact that the North Sac News is no longer in business as of their January edition. So that put a little wrinkle into our plans, but after speaking with the former editor of the news, who actually does the production and arranges the printing, they also have a direct mail option. It's a little more expensive than what we were paying in the past. We would pay 10 cents a unit for distribution through the news. The direct mail option is 20 cents per unit. Fortunately for this budget year, we do have enough funds left in the overall accounts to send out as many as we planned on. And I'm actually intrigued to see how the direct mail option will work, as opposed to 12,000 going into people's driveways, where you hope most of them get picked up and read. Now we'll be targeting mailboxes, so I'm looking for maybe a positive bump in attention to our promotional materials. So it was a bit of a shock, but we're working through the process. Spoke with John today. Everything's moving forward quickly, and we should have that thing out towards the end of February, first week in March. And hopefully you noticed driving in, the signboard is up and working. Has been since Friday. Is there any wood to knock?
Both sides.
Both sides.
sides are working.
Alan was kind of
We think we found the
about
problem.
the
We think we found the problem, or Pacific Neon thinks they found the problem. And so we're cautiously optimistic that we won't have any more problems for a while. So the signboard's up and going. That's all.
Questions for you?
Yeah, one quick question, Scott. You mentioned that through the North Sac News we were able to distribute 12,000 previously. And you think we can hit that number too? With the budget?
Yeah, with the money we have, the proposal for 12,000, plus we order an additional 1,000 for distribution here at the office. With distribution, came in at around $8,700, and we have about $9,100 left. Now, when we prepare next year's budget, we'll have to make an adjustment if we want to stay within the same parameters. But I'm thinking, 12,000 distributed to driveways as opposed to maybe 8,000 or 9,000 to select addresses that we get to select. The direct mail may have more of a positive impact than what we were doing before. So
I'm excited about the direct mail feature.
it'll definitely be worth it some to track.
I don't know why, but my zip code gets the Sunrise Recreation and Park District direct mailer every so often. It's
I
an
get the
impressive thing.
Antelope.
I'm sure
I get the Antelope monthly. I live in Antelope. I get the Antelope monthly, and I get the North Sac News. I did get the North Sac News. But all the promotion materials were in the Antelope monthly from Sunrise. So.
I'm excited.
It's interesting with the North Sac News, except for the first activity guide. After that, I never received it
Is that
at
right?
my house. Yeah, I don't know if Alan had that same issue because
He never mentioned it. And I know there was one round we distributed where I got one in Antelope, and I really shouldn't because I'm not obviously not the North Highlands zip code. And I talked to John about that, the editor, and he explained sometimes things can slip through the cracks, and they probably distributed more than they planned on distributing. But now I wasn't aware that you weren't getting it. So.
yeah, it's the way I got it was here. I don't
Right.
know if I'll ask Alan if he had that same.
And when we do hand out a lot of them here at the office,
Yeah.
special events, things like that. So.
Is there anything? Carrie? Front office staff's okay? Good. All right. So let's move on to correspondence. Let's comments and reports from citizens. Now this is the time we don't know you two guys, but if you have anything to speak, I'll wave the card. If you have anything to say that's not on the agenda, otherwise wait till it comes up. I know this guy's coming up real quick, but if you'd like to speak about something that's not on the agenda, it's your time. You have a couple minutes at the podium if you'd like. Okay?
Not at this time.
All right. Let's move on to unfinished business. Mr. Dennis. Got your letter. How you doing?
Okay. Okay, status report on Freedom Park. After hearing Chuck's report, now I can be a little sympathetic on the challenges of working with the building department there. Status report is construction has been done, and we've been calling for final inspections and going through the great gamut of that there. We were kind of sailing along until two issues have come up which have really nothing to do with what was on the plans and even the plan review by the county. It was brought up by one of the inspectors. One item happened to be an illuminated sign, and I was trying to basically signage that you can see from the street on an address sign. And the guy wouldn't bend on that, and I said, it's nowhere in the plans, anything like that. Well, this has to be done. And I said, well, there's two challenges here. One, the address of the complex is on Perrin Avenue, and we enter on Dudley. That's one challenge. So if you went to the back right now, there's no access on Perrin if we were to put a sign over there. If we put a sign on Dudley, it's not correct because that's not our address to the park. I talked for 15 minutes to the person, and this person didn't understand. The second part of it was I tried to explain that the softball complex is set back off the street. It's behind the park, behind Cal Fit. And he said, well, just put the sign on the building. I said, you can't see the sign from the building. I said, if I was to put anything on the building, you couldn't see it. And he goes, well, emergency services has to have a way to see the signage. I said, I don't know how to accommodate this. He then punted back to the fire marshal. And I tried to